The rugged, snow-capped Alborz Mountains bore silent witness to a tragedy that would shake Iran to its core. On a crisp April morning, the presidential aircraft carrying President Ebrahim Raisi and his entourage vanished from radar screens, its twisted wreckage later found strewn across a remote, unforgiving landscape. The news of the crash sent shockwaves through the nation, plunging Iran into a state of profound grief and uncertainty. Flags flew at half-mast, public gatherings were canceled, and the streets of Tehran, usually bustling with life, fell eerily silent. The nation mourned the loss of a leader who, despite his controversial image on the world stage, was deeply respected within Iran. Raisi, a hardline cleric known for his austere lifestyle and conservative ideology, had come to power 2 years prior, promising economic revival and a return to traditional values. His presidency, marked by both challenges and triumphs, had seen Iran navigate a complex geopolitical landscape, grappling with sanctions, regional tensions, and internal divisions. Now, with his sudden demise, the nation found itself at a crossroads, its future shrouded in ambiguity. Raisi's death not only left a void in Iran's political landscape, but also cast a long shadow over the region and beyond. His recent diplomatic efforts, particularly his outreach to neighboring Pakistan, had raised hopes for a thaw in long-standing tensions and the potential for greater regional cooperation. His demise threatened to derail these fragile initiatives, leaving a vacuum in regional diplomacy, just as progress seemed within reach. The international community watched with bated breath, wondering how this sudden turn of events would reshape Iran's trajectory and its place in the world. The crash site, a desolate expanse of rock and scree, quickly became a focal point for national mourning. Thousands made the arduous journey, braving treacherous mountain roads to pay their respects, laying flowers and offering prayers amidst the wreckage. The outpouring of grief was a testament to Raisi's standing among the Iranian people, but it also underscored the profound sense of loss and uncertainty that gripped the nation. As the sun dipped behind the Alborz peaks, casting long shadows over the crash site, the question on every mind was, what next for Iran? Ebrahim Raisi's tenure, though relatively short, was marked by a notable shift in Iran's diplomatic approach, particularly towards its eastern neighbor, Pakistan. Long characterized by mistrust and rivalry, the relationship between the two nations had been fraught with historical baggage, border disputes, and ideological differences. Raisi, however, seemed determined to chart a new course, recognizing the strategic importance of fostering closer ties with Pakistan. His efforts to mend fences were driven by a pragmatic understanding of the changing geopolitical landscape. Facing mounting pressure from the West, particularly the United States, Raisi saw in Pakistan a potential ally, a counterweight to Western influence in the region. He also recognized the economic benefits of enhanced cooperation, particularly in the energy sector, where Pakistan's growing energy needs presented a lucrative opportunity for Iran's vast natural gas reserves. Raisi's outreach to Pakistan was not without its challenges. Deep-seated suspicions, nurtured over decades, were not easily overcome. Elements within both countries remained wary of rapprochement, viewing the other with ingrained mistrust. Sectarian differences with Iran's Shia majority and Pakistan's Sunni dominance added another layer of complexity. Yet, Raisi pressed on, engaging in a series of high-level meetings, confidence-building measures, and economic initiatives aimed at bridging the divide. His efforts culminated in a landmark visit to Islamabad, the first by an Iranian president in over a decade. The visit, widely hailed as a diplomatic breakthrough, saw the signing of several agreements, including a preferential trade agreement and a commitment to enhance energy cooperation. While challenges remained, Raisi's diplomatic drive had injected a renewed sense of optimism into the relationship, paving the way for a potential paradigm shift in Iran-Pakistan relations. The burgeoning relationship between Iran and Pakistan under Raisi's leadership held immense promise, not only for the two nations, but for the wider region. A stable and cooperative relationship between these two pivotal countries could serve as a cornerstone for regional stability, fostering economic growth, enhancing security cooperation, and mitigating the risk of conflict. The potential benefits extended beyond the bilateral sphere, offering opportunities for broader regional integration and cooperation. One of the most significant areas of potential cooperation lay in the energy sector. Pakistan, facing a chronic energy crisis, was in dire need of reliable and affordable energy sources. Iran, with its vast natural gas reserves, was ideally positioned to meet this demand. The proposed Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, a long-stalled project, held the key to unlocking this potential, offering a lifeline for Pakistan's energy-starved economy and a lucrative export market for Iran. Beyond energy, the two countries shared a common interest in combating terrorism and extremism, threats that had plagued both nations for years. Enhanced security cooperation, including intelligence sharing and joint border patrols, could significantly bolster efforts to counter these threats, enhancing stability along their shared border and contributing to a more secure regional environment. Moreover, closer ties between Iran and Pakistan could pave the way for greater economic integration, boosting trade and investment flows. The preferential trade agreement signed during Raisi's visit to Islamabad was a testament to this commitment, aiming to reduce trade barriers and facilitate the flow of goods and services. Increased economic interaction could create jobs, spur economic growth, and raise living standards in both countries, contributing to a more prosperous and interconnected region. The news of President Raisi's death reverberated across the region, sending shockwaves through diplomatic circles and casting a pall over the nascent hopes for rapprochement between Iran and Pakistan. The tragedy threatened to derail the delicate progress made under Raisi's leadership, leaving the future of this budding relationship hanging in the balance. In Pakistan, the reaction was one of shock and dismay. The government, which had invested considerable political capital in building bridges with Iran, expressed deep sorrow over Raisi's demise, recognizing the loss not only of a partner, but of a driving force behind the recent diplomatic thaw. Concerns mounted over the potential for the relationship to backslide, with hardliners in both countries likely to seize upon the uncertainty to undermine the progress made. The impact extended beyond the immediate bilateral relationship. Regional powers, including Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, who had viewed the Iran-Pakistan rapprochement with a mix of apprehension and skepticism, now faced a new set of calculations. The sudden change in leadership in Tehran created an element of unpredictability, leaving regional players scrambling to assess the potential implications for their own strategic interests. The ripple effects were felt even further afield, reaching the halls of power in Washington, Moscow, and Beijing. The international community, already grappling with a complex and volatile global landscape, now had to contend with a new variable in the equation. The future direction of Iran, a key player in the Middle East and beyond, was suddenly shrouded in uncertainty, raising concerns about the potential for regional instability and the reshaping of global power dynamics. Within Iran, the sudden void left by Raisi's demise triggered a wave of internal turmoil. The nation, already grappling with economic woes and social tensions, now faced a period of profound political uncertainty. The race to succeed Raisi was fraught with complexities, with various factions within the Iranian establishment vying for power. The conservative clerical establishment, of which Raisi had been a prominent figure, sought to maintain its grip on power, but faced challenges from within its own ranks. Different currents of conservative thought, each with its own interpretation of Islamic governance and foreign policy, competed for influence, making the selection of a successor a delicate balancing act. The reformist camp, marginalized but not extinguished, saw an opportunity to reassert itself, hoping to capitalize on the uncertainty to push for greater political and social liberalization. However, their prospects remained dim, hampered by years of repression and the entrenched power of the conservative elite. Adding to the complexity was the role of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, a powerful military and economic force with significant influence in the political sphere. The IRGC, fiercely loyal to the principles of the Islamic Revolution, was likely to play a decisive role in the succession process, seeking to ensure the continuation of its interests and the preservation of its vast power. The race to succeed President Raisi was a high-stakes contest, a political chess match with profound implications for the future of Iran. Potential candidates emerged from the shadows, each representing a different strand of the Iranian political tapestry, their ambitions intertwined with the complex web of factions, ideologies, and power dynamics that characterize the Islamic Republic. One leading contender was Hojat al-Islam Sayyid Ibrahim Raisi, the son of the late president and a rising star within the conservative establishment. Seen as a potential heir to his father's legacy, the younger Raisi inherited his father's conservative credentials and close ties to the clerical elite, but lacked his father's experience and political acumen. Another prominent figure was Ali Larijani, a veteran politician and former Speaker of the Parliament. Larijani, known for his pragmatic approach and ability to navigate the complex currents of Iranian politics, represented a more moderate strain of conservatism, seeking to balance ideological purity with practical considerations. On the reformist side, Mohammad Khatami, a former president who had championed greater political and social freedoms, emerged as a potential standard-bearer. Khatami, though popular among a segment of the population, faced an uphill battle, his movement weakened by years of repression and the enduring strength of the conservative establishment. The IRGC, a formidable force in its own right, loomed large over the succession process. While not directly vying for the presidency, the IRGC wielded significant influence, its preference for a candidate who would safeguard its interests and uphold its vision of the Islamic Revolution, likely to be a decisive factor in the outcome. The sudden demise of President Raisi sent ripples across the global geopolitical landscape, prompting a recalibration of policies and a reassessment of strategic interests by world powers. The future direction of Iran, a nation of immense geopolitical consequence, was now shrouded in uncertainty, raising concerns about regional stability and the potential reshaping of international relations. In Washington, the reaction was cautious but alert. The Biden administration, which had been engaged in a delicate dance with Iran over its nuclear program and regional activities, now faced a new set of variables. The death of Raisi, seen as a hardliner, presented both opportunities and risks. The U.S., while wary of potential instability in Iran, also saw a potential opening for diplomacy, hoping to engage with a new leadership more amenable to dialogue. Russia, a long-standing ally of Iran, expressed condolences over Raisi's death, but also saw the event through the lens of its own strategic interests. The Kremlin, seeking to maintain its influence in the Middle East and counter Western pressure, was likely to intensify its engagement with Iran, seeking to forge closer ties with the new leadership and ensure the continuation of strategic cooperation. China, another key player in the region, was also closely watching the unfolding events in Tehran. Beijing, with its growing economic and geopolitical footprint in the Middle East, saw in Iran a valuable partner, a source of energy resources, and a strategic counterweight to U.S. influence. China was likely to deepen its economic and diplomatic ties with Iran, seeking to secure its interests and expand its influence in the region. The untimely death of President Raisi left Iran at a crossroads, its future trajectory uncertain, its destiny hanging in the balance. The nation, grappling with internal divisions, economic challenges, and a complex geopolitical landscape, now faced a pivotal moment in its history, its path forward shaped by the choices made in the wake of this tragedy. The race to succeed Raisi was a microcosm of the larger struggle for the soul of Iran, a contest between competing visions of the Islamic Republic. Would the conservative establishment maintain its grip on power, steering the nation towards a more rigid interpretation of Islamic governance? Or would a new leadership emerge, embracing a more pragmatic approach, seeking to address the nation's pressing challenges and mend fences with the outside world? The outcome of the succession process would have profound implications for Iran's domestic landscape. Would the new leadership address the growing demands for greater political and social freedoms, or would the iron fist of repression continue to stifle dissent? The economic woes plaguing the nation, exacerbated by sanctions and mismanagement, demanded urgent attention. Would the new leadership prioritize economic reforms, seeking to alleviate the hardships faced by ordinary Iranians? Beyond its borders, the future direction of Iran would resonate across the region and beyond. Would the new leadership continue Raisi's efforts to build bridges with Pakistan, fostering regional stability and cooperation? Or would the relationship backslide, reigniting old tensions and fueling regional instability? The international community watched with bated breath, wondering whether Iran would emerge from this period of uncertainty as a partner or a pariah, its choices shaping the fate of a nation and the course of global affairs. The world watched as Iran navigated the turbulent waters of transition. The tragic death of President Raisi serving as a stark reminder of the fragility of leadership and the unpredictable nature of global affairs. The event, a microcosm of the larger forces shaping the international order, underscored the interconnectedness of global events and the ripple effects of seemingly isolated incidents. The sudden change in leadership in Tehran injected a new element of uncertainty into an already complex and volatile world. Global power dynamics, in a state of constant flux, were further destabilized by this unexpected turn of events. The international community, grappling with a multitude of challenges, from climate change to economic instability to geopolitical tensions, now had to contend with a new variable in the equation. The future direction of Iran, a nation of strategic importance, held implications for regional stability, the global energy market, and the fight against terrorism. The choices made by the new leadership in Tehran would reverberate far beyond Iran's borders, shaping the geopolitical landscape and influencing the course of global affairs. The tragedy served as a potent reminder of the need for diplomacy, dialogue, and a commitment to peaceful resolution of conflicts. In an increasingly interconnected world, the destinies of nations were intertwined, the actions of one impacting the fate of many. As Iran embarked on a new chapter in its history, the world watched, hoping for stability, peace, and a future where cooperation triumphed over confrontation.